one of the reasons for these blues that we feel in midlife crisis is because I would like to go back to the hormones and neurotransmitters of the four colors. And if you imagine a kind of a matrix in front of you, where the red and the yellow are on top, and the blue and the green are at the bottom, that what happens in our life is we have a certain gravity of hormones. The fighting hormones, the cheer hormones are emptying out of our system as we get older, and the responding hormones, the caretaking hormones, the listening hormones are becoming stronger and stronger. And especially men, that creates an identity crisis because suddenly you feel like you are not what you used to be. You don't have the charisma, you don't have the drive, but that's perfectly normal. Life is just preparing you for a different role.
That is pretty profound. I think I never thought about the kind of the shift in terms of, if you look at the four colors, the older you get, the yellow and the red start dropping down, like you say.
It does.
And you start naturally becoming, whether you're male or female, whatever, you start naturally typically becoming more blue and green, right?
Yes, that's right. Now, very, very simple things. Just imagine that you are talking to a 50-something-year-old man, and then he starts complaining, what is happening? I start losing my hair. I start being frightened when people raise their voice. The other day I cried when we watched a film. Do you know what all of this is? This is all the toning down of the testosterone in the male system. And the testosterone is associated with the red color in the four color system. Wow. But people just simply think this is not me. No, it's still you. Is that there is an expert called Helen Fisher. She is quite well known. Started off as a medical doctor, brain scientist. Then he became a tech entrepreneur. Then now she's a management consultant herself, and she trained me in one application of this four color system. And then she brings it back to ancient human societies. It's men had to give way for the next generation. Men used to be hunters and explorers and fighters and so on. But if these fighting hormones and exploring hormones, these kind of aggressive competitive hormones, they don't start toning down with age, then you never let the next generation take over. Just like you see in the animal kingdom, the alpha male often kills the young adult males because it wants to keep being a leader. Human societies don't work like this. Human societies thrive on diversity. So in ancient societies, when males got to their 40s, and that was the next fight, it was the 30-year-olds, just like that 40-something was 30 once, who said, let's get the buster, I want to go, give me a lance, I'm going to, and the other one said, you go and fight, I will make the lances, and I will give you advice.
That's because that changes the whole perspective of how I look at the midlife crisis. Because before we were thinking, I was thinking the midlife crisis was kind of outward pressures of society telling you something, therefore you're reacting to it, and then you go into a midlife crisis. But what you're saying there is that midlife crisis has nothing to do with society. It's really a biological change that people go through.
It's a response to the biological change.
So it's inner. So it's a physical change you're going through.
Yes. Stress, sadness, depression. These don't come from the outside world. No. These things are responses. You cannot blame the outside world for these things. Stuff happens, and then you respond to it. You could imagine somebody exactly like you who would respond completely differently to the same kind of input. But you respond this way, and you worked very hard to build up your identity, and you're not happy that you have to let it go. But actually, what we have to realize is that the death of an old identity is the rebirth of a new identity. It's a little bit a boxing champion to boxing trainer.
But are you saying that the thing that changes, that causes the death of the old personality and the rise of the new personality is actually a biological change happening within our body?
It's a response to the biological change.
It's a response to the
the biological change happens anyway.
It's a symptom of the biological change.
Let me put it this way. The biological change happens anyway. Everybody gets older. But you can choose. Do you want to be in your life, whatever the profession, or what? Do you want to be a Nicolas Cage or you want to be a George Clooney? You see what I mean? So, meaning, Nicolas Cage tries to play the same role over and over again, even though now he's kind of aging out of that role. And George Clooney becomes a producer, becomes a director, becomes an entrepreneur, becomes a... Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
So Nicolas Cage is... Clooney is not on screen as often as he used to be. Is he a loser?
Obviously not, right?
Exactly.
So that's more akin to him taking on more caretaker kind of roles.
Yes, exactly. He just takes all the experience that he accumulated as an actor, but you don't have to cling to that identity as an actor. And all of us are like this. And nature does this to us because your role in society has to change. Otherwise, you are becoming a hindering factor. You are becoming that strange old guy who doesn't want to give up the department, even when you're already half blind and you cannot contribute to it anymore, if you see what I mean.